Yeah.
You're not allowed.
He's over there. Can anyone think of a particularly terrifying name for this guy?
This is the little thing, and because the two of us talk like crazy people the whole time over each other, this is the conch.
We don't talk over each other at all.
Stop talking! I'm holding it.
No, it's Mike. It's Mike. It's Mike. As he was saying, we need this clutch to make sure that we're not talking over each other all the time.
And then whoever's holding this gets to talk, right? The last time we did this, we had a little blue alpaca, and he was called Restless Timmy. So what do you think we should call this guy? What did you say? Sean Ryan.
John Ryan.
Oh, John Ryan.
John Ryan.
Thank God, I thought he said Sean Ryan. Oh, John Ryan. Yeah, cool. John Ryan. Done. There.
John Ryan.
It's his fault.
The weed from space. No.
John Ryan.
John Ryan. The weed from space.
Okay, guys. For anyone who misread the program, this is the Fandom Throughout the Ages panel. It's where me, Barry, and Connor we talk about how kind of the consumption of media and fandom when it comes to anime, games, movies in general has changed throughout the years. We have a particularly large amount of knowledge from the previous years, from the 90s, in Barry, because Barry was the auditor of sci-fi back in
1996.
1996.
So, no offense, that was before I was born.
How many people here were born after 96?
Oh, please.
Just say.
Okay, so...
Really, is that true?
That's
Clutch, man,
97.
clutch.
Really, is that true?
97.
Sorry, apologies, he's correct. Sorry.
So it's January 97.
Okay. So we're just gonna. Barry has a wealth of experience. We're gonna go through the stuff that doesn't have legal implications at this panel.
Yeah, I don't have a wealth of experience then.
So if you could start, I suppose, could you tell the guys the life of Brian story? That's a particularly good one to start off.
Okay. Okay, this is the life of Brian's story.
No, that's not.
Yeah, this is the life of Brian's story. It's about a movie that Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez made called From Dusk Till Dawn, if you remember that. We had to get, it was banned in Ireland. Can you believe they banned that movie?
Yeah.
Nobody could, what do you mean yes? Why would you believe that?
They banned a lot in 1997.
Yeah, well this is From Dusk Till Dawn, it's just vampires and shooting, banging it. It wasn't that bad. I don't even know why they banned it. Was it for gore or? It was cartoon gore, right? Like literally cartoon gore. So I don't know why they banned it, but they did. And we wanted to show it, not because we thought people would like it, but because it was banned, you know? So we, eventually, we sourced a videotape, a VHS tape from Bahrain, and we showed the tape from Bahrain. It had this little Arabic scroll going on the whole time, and also in English saying, please do not show this tape to anyone, it's a specimen copy, through the whole performance. And then we figured out that you could just lower the screen a little bit and you can't see the bottom halfway through, and then that fixed that problem. And that's the life of Brian's story.
Did you have to post one of the society members at the door to make sure that the guards didn't show up and shut the place down? Are they being very strict with the movie ban?
We had issues with the UCC Film Sock. And the UCC Film Sock...
Are there any Film Sock members here before he starts? Nope.
Yes.
Oh, other than...
Are you in Film Sock?
He was, not anymore.
After you... In like 2002 it was disbanded.
It was a completely different...
Yeah, it was, right?
Nothing to do with anything you were ever involved
Exactly.
in. Okay, these guys were asshats, right? We wanted to show movies, and they came to us before we worked out our schedule, and they said, oh, you guys can't show any movies, you know that, right? You can't show any movies, and if you try, we will get the distributors onto you. So, presumably to pursue legal action. And we figured out that the distributors would only ever bother if they could recoup some money, and we had a system in place where we wouldn't charge anybody to come in. So why would you bother sticking lawyers on us to, like, just for the hell of it, you're going to look like an idiot. And anyway, the Film Sock had, did I tell you this before? The Film Sock had done a very similar thing that with a movie also involving Quentin Tarantino, as it turns out, called Natural Born Killers, which is directed by Oliver Stone. And that movie was utterly banned for terrible reasons, because it was supposed to be a satire, but anyway. They banned that, and the Film Sock showed it downtown in an open to everybody, not just members, in what used to be one of the bars I'm old. So,
Probably been torn down in the 20 years since, probably.
oh, I hope so. That place was horrible. So they showed the movie there, and we knew this, and we said, well, if if the reasoning they gave us is because they didn't want us, but they really just didn't want us showing movies at all because they thought they were the movie guys and they owned the concept of watching a movie in UCC. You know what I mean? You can't copyright a concept; they can all go right to hell. But we did anyway, and then when we were working at the schedule afterwards, we just put their schedule and just picked all the ones and decided to show them all a week before they did for free. Because they're all a bunch of assholes. Not you, obviously, you're fine. They're all a bunch of assholes.
Listen, you know, the film sock had a similar experience with Sci-Fi in Reverse in 2011 when...
Stopped you from doing it, did we?
Yeah, yeah. The auditor at the time was like, you know, you can't show films, right?
The auditor at the time did not say that. You just take that off the film, that's stripped from the record. Okay.
Sorry, come on.
That's, yes, as you said, kind of...
Don't hand me the penny unless
all right.
Jesus Christ, man. Do not rub the lamp unless you want the genie to come out. Right. So, you were saying that you went to the film stock and said you can't show movies?
No.
Yes, you did.
Off topic. That's not
That's ludicrous.
Now, Barry, could you tell us, did you A, know what anime was, or did you have any anime back in the 90s?
I was in charge of the Science Fiction Society in UCC in 1996. I knew nothing about anime. Somebody came to me and said, you should really be showing anime. And I said, yeah, Japanese cartoons, that's a good idea. No. I got that wrong.
Yeah.
Alright? I got it wrong. I still don't know what anime is, but I understand that people want to watch it, and it's nothing to do with me. Does anybody here recognize the name Theodore Sturgeon? He was a very, he was a science fiction author in the 1950s. And he wrote, because back in the 1950s, American science fiction authors, he wrote 50 books a year with nobody, right? So they're all quite prolific. But he came up with it's called Sturgeon's Law, about science fiction in particular, but it turns out to apply to any kind of cultural artifact, any music, any art, anything. And his law is 90% of it is shit. Anything at all, anime, pop music, anything. You find 10% of it that's fantastic and you hang on to that because the rest is shit. Sturgeon's law, not me, so I'm not saying that, I'm quoting Sturgeon. We had no internet. We had to do everything using physical items. The internet is destroying culture thing, right? And it turns out it's just created new ones. But at the time, people were thinking it was going to destroy everything. And I remember the specimen, I was never that hopeless, but I remember the specimen example they used was an American video rental company called Blockbuster. And they went under. And they blamed internet downloads and so on for the fact that they couldn't do business. And that's not true at all. Although that is what put them out of business. The what put them out of business was that they weren't flexible. What you said?
They couldn't adapt.
That's the word I was looking for, thank you, sir. They were not able to adapt, they weren't flexible enough. Because you take something like Netflix, which takes...
actually started as...
Yes, I remember going to the physical Netflix things. You remember? No?
No, I don't.
Well, I do.
Well, I've heard people did it.
I know. Sorry,
Sorry.
That's alright, man, you carry on, don't worry. I'm alright, this is the world I live in now, I'm just completely disconnected from any popular... We don't do weekly newspaper. We do weekly newspaper on a piece of paper that we used to hand out to people, and they'd have to read the words on the paper. I don't know, do people still do that?
Facebook page.
Yeah.
Oh, Facebook page, okay.
Nobody reads it, see?
Nobody reads it. Oh, just the very same as the one we used to do then.
I was going to ask if you thought that the internet has changed the acceptance or approach to people being in societies like this. Like
You're very pretty, do you know that? You're a very pretty girl.
Listen, okay. Compliment the pretty audience members afterwards.
Do you want to meet me outside afterwards?
No.
No, serious, do you want to meet me outside? What do you mean, no?
Apologize for his behaviour. The things were a bit different back then. Courting was a whole different scenario.
You sent a letter.
You sent letters, yes, short letters.
Sent a pigeon.
That girl there.
We're married.
Sorry, that's my wife.
In Barry's time or whatever, when you dressed, you didn't really dress up anyway because you were the only person like in Ireland going around dressed like whatever. You didn't realise there were other people at all like that in the world. So I would have thought the internet would have given more validation than say the tribalism thing.
The last time I came down here, there was a guy sitting up there and he was wearing black wings, and it blew my mind. how a guy could wander around wearing black wings, not in a bad way, like in a cool way, you know? Like he could wander around wearing black wings. I was like, that's fantastic. And then I said, you are fantastic. And then I met him on I told you this, remember? I met him at the library outside, and I was going past, I was like, hey, hey, and he totally blanked me. I actually got blanked by a guy wearing wings. What's that about?
It's tribalism.
Tribalism.
The people in North Korea know that feeling.
Hey!
Whoa, okay, we'll show Dust Till Dawn over there, won't we?
Well, I guess running the Science Fiction Society in 1996 was essentially like living in North Korea, I guess.
Hopefully it was better in the 80s.
Oh, everything was better in the 80s.
North Korea.
No. No, the 80s.
When I realised that this distribution copyright thing they have with DVDs was utter nonsense, was I lived in America for a while, and I bought a bunch of DVDs, and they're all really cool. When I came back and playing, I'm like, it's region 4, right? Region 1. So I can't play any of them. So I had to download videos I bought legally. I had to download them illegally so I could watch them here. That's insane. Get your head out of your ass, whoever's in charge of those laws. It's ridiculous. Okay, that's something you said about the internet. You can download anything you want. You used to get people coming up to our committee meetings requesting movies. Can you imagine doing that now? You can just look it up whenever you want. They go, oh, will you show Blade Runner on Tuesday night? You're like, yes, of course we will. We will show Blade Runner on Tuesday night just for you, buddy, and we would.
You can still add it. I suppose the guys can still request, but
You're going to download it and watch it 3 times before that.
yeah. Watch it in the lecture hall.
Yeah,
Stuff on
on a delay.
just 5 seconds.
Director's cut. Yeah.
Because
Well, that's making new stuff might not be possible because everything is a response to something else. You're either trying to do something different by which you're still allowing the source material to control how you do things, or you're creating something that's in the same kind of vein. And it doesn't. All art in any artistic field, like music or anything, every movement is going to be a response. Cubism was a response to something. It's always a response to something. There's nothing. You can't just start from scratch and say, okay, I'm going to have 0 influences. Now let's create some art. Good luck with that. You know, we're going to be telling our kids, like in 40 years, all we had was online. You know? Adapting something, you have to adapt. You can't just take a comic book or a book and throw it up into the screen and expect it to work. Because film is essentially a visual medium and books aren't. And what I'm remembering is Vladimir Nabokov wrote a lovely book called Lolita, right? It's a beautiful book. And they made, you like Lolita? It's fantastic, right? It's just a beautiful... That was his 3rd language. English was his 3rd language after Russian and French. And he still managed to write in English this beautiful novel. Anyway, they made a movie of it, I think it was in 1997 with Jeremy Irons. And it was terrible, right? And the reason it was terrible was because they didn't adapt it. They just put the entire book on the screen and said, look at how authentic it is, right? Which is true, but it's rubbish. And well, part of the kick of reading Lolita is that there's an unreliable narrator, right? The guy who's telling the story is clearly full of, right? But he's convinced that it's like Wuthering Heights, you know, when Lockwood, he's missing all the, anyway, he's an unreliable narrator, but when you put that on a film, you can't get that. All you see is what you see on the screen, and it looks like he's actually the hero, right? Because everything is from his point of view. But when you're looking at it through a camera, it's objective, it's 3rd person. When you're reading it from a book, you know you're reading it because he tells you, you can always rely, in the first paragraph he says you can always rely on a murderer for a fancy prose style, right? And unless you're going to do the whole movie as a voiceover, which is pointless, you might as well just record it on a book and get Stephen Fry to do it, it's pointless, right? You have to adapt it. 62, I think, which is 2 years after they wrote the book, after Nabokov. Nabokov was involved in that. And they trashed a whole load of the plot and brought Peter Sellers' character, Claire Quilty, to the fore. They had this kind of 3-line character, and they just brought him up to... Do you ever see the Stanley Kubrick adaptation of Lolita? No, anyway. The point is, they just ignored a lot of the book, and they adapted it for the screen, and they turned it into this visual, wonderful thing, and that's what you're supposed to do. But when you look at that movie, it's not authentic. It's not true to the source material, and that's fine. You know, because you have to adapt it. Now, why you complain about that, I don't know. Or why you think that's fantastic when you're looking at the Jeremy Irons, where it's not his fault, he's a great actor. But he was just given a very authentic thing that wasn't adapted properly. You have to adapt things.
Well,
Yeah.
There's an absolute analog with a lot of anime that have been adapted. Like, does anyone read Gantz? Gantz? Anyone? You thought about reading it. That was adapted very badly as well. I mean, it's very.
I thought about it. That's great. I thought I was like, enough information to say it out loud. That was brilliant.
Yeah.
Just back on adaptation. I'm sorry I don't have any anime examples because I don't know anything about it. But
It's funny that you don't.
okay, good. But just, I have to disagree with you. I don't think the adaptation problem is one about modernizing the content. I think it's about understanding the medium that you're in. And if you don't understand that your film, the film is a visual medium, you're not in the right business. Like, you take another one like, has everyone here seen Watchmen, the movie?
Yeah.
Have you all, like, I'm not going to spoil it.
I was going to say
right?
that's a good example.
Am I going to spoil it or anything if I talk about the plot of Watchmen?
Sure.
Okay.
I have a comment.
Like, just keep it. I won't say it. All right. Sorry.
No spoilers.
No spoiler. Okay. I'm sorry. There is a part of Watchmen which is it started out as a comic book by Alan Moore,
Yeah.
and there's a significant chunk of it that's just basically pages and pages of text, right? Now that's not going to work in a movie. You can't just show people pages of text if you want to do a direct thing. So what they did was they took most of that information and they put it into the opening. This isn't a spoiler because it's the first thing you'll see. The opening title sequence, and they put a Bob Dylan song over it, and it's glorious. It's not in the comic books at all. It's just a fantastic way to start that movie because it's an adaptation, which is what.
Best scene in the film.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's really good, and it gets you right into the drink of it. Without, and it's not in the comic book at all. And there's two other things which I was going to talk about, I can't because it'll ruin it for that girl there. But it's how to. I know people didn't like the Watchmen movie because I can't believe this and I can't believe that. Dude, it's an adaptation. The man's a movie maker. And he's really good at it, you know. David Tennant's Hamlet is a thing of beauty. It's everybody involved in that production gets it. They understand exactly what the point of Hamlet is and how all the characters work together. So if you want to see a really good one, watch the Tennant one.
Filming yourself.
No, I'm not filming. I'm trying to get a photo. Sorry, and I'm going to ask these people.
Oh yeah.
Has anybody here object to me taking a photo of this? If you do, I'm not going to do it.
Wants to get a photo of the
I won't
crowd.
trash you or anything. Is anybody object to it? All right.
Guys, thank you very much for coming and for listening.
Thank you.
I hope you found it a bit interesting.
That is what's close to what I get.
And thank you, Barry, for coming down all the way down the country and enjoy the rest of the con, guys. Thank you.